Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Karen Griffin, who is Hargrove Controls and Automations Vice President and Managing Member Representative of Tormod, an asset lifecycle company. There, she leads a team of 150 professionals, including automation engineers and specialists. Karen joined Hargrove in 2012 and has served in various automation roles such as engineering leader, main automation contractor program sponsor, senior project manager, and controls and automation engineer for the refining, oil and gas, chemicals, and pulp and paper industry. She also served on the owner side as a senior process control engineer for a major pulp and paper manufacturer. Finally, full disclosure, Karen is the chair of the CSIA Board of Directors, the first woman to hold the position. Karen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lisa.
Let's start with asking about how you got started. Did you choose this career or did this career choose you?
This career definitely chose me. When I was in college, I took a co-op position in pulp and paper with a process control group. And I ended up going full-time with them when I graduated. That group, I found a tremendous opportunity for both technical development as well as professional development. After a few years, I began to realize that career advancement in a large organization oftentimes required that you become less technical and a more managerial in your focus. So around that timeline, one of my old college buddies worked for a systems integrator, and he contacted me about an opening at his firm. And I love automation, so this opportunity looked to be the solution where I could continue to advance my technical skills while also working on progressing my career. So I would say it found me.
How do you describe to lay people what it is that you do?
It's pretty simple. Most people understand the physical assets. They can see them. You can kind of tell them what those physical assets do. And so I just tell people that we put the brains in them. It's pretty simple.
A little bit about Hargrove. What's the history there? How did it begin and how has it evolved?
So it's a story that if you work for Hargrove, you definitely like to tell because it's a pretty neat story. Ralph Hargrove started this company in his attic, and it wasn't long before he began to hire people. And some of the people he hired were in automation. So I'd like to tell everyone we've always done automation at Hargrove. But for example, our panel shop leader, he's with us today. In those early days, he was one of Ralph's first hires. His focus at the time was primarily on I&E design, but through that relationship, he ended up becoming our panel shop leader, and he's been serving in that position for many years now. Another example, there was a gentleman by the name of Bobby Bogue. Bobby had both I&E experience as well as the programming aspects of automation, and he worked with us until he retired at the end of 2020. So I like to make sure that everyone knows that at Hargrove, we've always done automation, but Hargrove's known as an engineering firm first and foremost. So in the 2011-12 timeline, Hargrove decided that we're going to differentiate our automation capabilities beyond being a discipline within the I&E group that can perform automation as needed. And that's when we developed the system integration arm. Several people joined the existing Hargrove team to become what was the beginning of that effort to become a system integrator. And I am grateful to be one of those people.
Do you specialize in any industry, product, or discipline, and why or why not?
ENR ranks Hargrove as number one in chemicals, so I'm going to say that our system integration capability is very heavy in the chemicals industry. We also have strong expertise in both pulp and paper, refining, and then other industries that are more oriented towards discrete manufacturing. We have quite a bit of experience there. At Hargrove, we're not looking to be industry specific, and we're also not looking to be discipline specific. One of the recurring themes at Hargrove is providing solutions for our clients. Whereas in the past, we haven't had certain capabilities. For example, some of our capabilities that are coming out of our advanced solutions group that is newly formed, we may not have had in the past. It's a solution that our clients need. So we've been building those capabilities. And automation is just another example of where Hargrove sees something that our clients need and we build a capability that fits it.
What suppliers do you work with?
We're vendor agnostic. And so that means that we work with all suppliers. We don't have any lists of we only do these types or we only do that type. This is very much an open company that we work with people of all natures.
Are you certified or endorsed with any that you'd like to mention?
Absolutely. We have Rockwell. We're a gold partner with them. Honeywell, we're an HPS industrial solutions provider. And we're an Aspen Tech partner. We're a certified partner with Enviva, PI certified as well. That's part of the Aviva platform, and Ignition. So we've got quite a few partners in the space, and we're currently looking at a couple of others that we might be adding to that list.
What challenges are your customers facing right now?
Within the last couple of years, we've heard a lot about supply chain disruption, lack of skilled resources. Those aren't new topics. They haven't been solved, though, and our clients are still facing those. What is new is I'm beginning to actually see economic uncertainties affect some of our clients. We've been talking about this for a couple of years. We're expecting some sort of a recession. It hasn't actually come, but I'm now seeing smaller opportunities come in. I'm now seeing some opportunities that are being delayed or some that are actually being canceled. So those indicators of an economic downturn are starting to surface within our client organizations. And also, we know that several economists are predicting an impending recession. So what's going to be new for me? I haven't been through an economic recession where we also have a shortage of labor. I'm really interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, it worries me. I feel like we're almost talking ourselves into recession. Do you know what I mean? Like we keep worrying about it and we're going to manifest it. So I'm trying to stay positive from that perspective.
Yeah, it does sound like we're talking about it, but we're also doing things like we're intentionally reducing borrowing capacity so that we can control inflation. And these things can lead to a soft landing if we do them well, and they may lead to a hard landing. I think right now everyone's predicting more of a soft landing, but it is by terminology a recession. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's just interesting to me that I'm finally starting to see where clients are responding to what we're predicting for the economic future.
What would you say is unique about how you approach a project?
Well, I'm not sure this is unique, but I know that we approach our clients as a relationship. So every project is a data point within that relationship. And there's other data points as well, but a project is certainly a significant data point within our client relationships. So with that, it's important to understand what is the overall business driver for our client? What solution are they wanting to provide with this particular project? What should we be recommending to them to help them achieve the outcomes they're looking for? So, it's necessary for us, I think, to gain that type of information, ideally before kickoff, but at least during kickoff, if not before. This information is going to help our project managers and our technical leads guide our team to produce successful projects and also to deliver overall value to our clients. We can implement projects that our clients ask us to, and we can implement them successfully. But if that project doesn't deliver the outcome the client is looking for, then we've just missed the opportunity to provide value. So what we're looking to do is build that relationship with our clients so we can understand the big picture for them and then be better equipped to provide our clients with value.
What advice would you give to a prospective customer researching a system integrator? How should that customer go about choosing a system integrator?
Well, really, they need to look at the company and see if they align with that company. Everyone that comes and talks to you is going to promise that they can do the job, they can do it well. But what are their values? What does their longevity look like? You want to know that you're going to work with someone that's going to be in business tomorrow. Many of these companies are very small and many are very stable, but you do want to separate the stable from the fly-by-night. On top of that, you want to know that those stable companies can provide repeatable outcomes. You don't want to be hoping that you get the right person on your job in order to deliver your desired outcomes. You want to know that their business processes are robust enough to ensure that they understand what types of outcomes they're going to see on those projects before it actually occurs, and therefore they can relay that to you as well. You want to know that they're very, very relationship focused. The type of work we do, it can become a factor for a client that if not done well, it's going to put a personal burden on them. They might have to be out at their facility late at night trying to troubleshoot things, trying to fix things that weren't done well. So it can be a bit of an emotional decision who to choose because it can impact you so personally. So you want to make sure that you've checked all of the references that you can check. You can see where they've gained recognition in the marketplace, whether or not, they've got a pretty good reputation or not. Some of these organizations, though, are going to be small and maybe they won't have that digital presence. Ask them if you can speak to some of their other clients. Many times our clients are willing to provide references for us. Check those references. Make sure that you're getting references that are in kind with the type of industry you're in or maybe the type of project that you have. But you really want to do everything you can to vet the quality and the repeatability of that quality within those systems integrators.
If you are an engineer, or what I like to call engineer adjacent, you like data. So here are some quick stats for you. While searching online, 43% of engineers filter through at least 5 pages of search results to find the information they're looking for. 45% say they consult industry directory websites. And 41% spend between a quarter and half of the buying process online, and 33% spend over half of the buying process online. Why am I telling you all this? It's simple. If your company is not on the CSIA Industrial Automation Exchange, you are missing out. It's free to join, but CSIA members get an automatic profile upgrade to a bronze level, as well as discounts for other upgrades and packages. To learn more, email me, Lisa Richter, at podcast@controlsys.org. And now for the fine print. The data in this promo comes from the 2023 State of Marketing to Engineers, published by True Marketing and Global Spec. That wasn't so bad, was it? Switching topics a little bit, let's talk about why Hargrove became a member of CSIA in the first place.
Certainly. We became a member of CSIA because we were interested in best practices. That was the original teaser that got us into CSIA. I hope you will learn that we found much more value than that, but it was valuable to us. As an EPC firm, Hargrove has a wealth of knowledge that we can reach out to when it comes to not only how we execute as a business, but also how we execute in regards to capital project engineering. We have other organizations that we're affiliated with by which we've established procedures. And when we became a systems integrator, we were looking for an organization we can affiliate with that is more specific to that systems integration approach. How do we need to run a successful systems integration business? Is that different than how we run our EPC business? If so, what are those areas where it's different? Where can we leverage what we already have, and where do we need to make modification? We want to be very intentional about that. And also, for the same token, how do we go about executing our work? We want to make sure that where we can execute the same as the rest of our engineering company, we do so. And where we must do things differently, there needs to be good reason, and we need to have the processes and procedures in place so that our team can execute that way. As the size of our company, we don't get to execute by word of mouth. It can't be tribal knowledge. What we have to do to be successful is make sure that we've got a clear communication for our team, what we do to execute and why it matters. And that will give us the opportunity to be more repeatable with our clients. Certainly, that's what we engaged for, and that's what we found. And we do have a very repeatable track record on our execution, and we've been executing our business in accordance to CSIA best practices for a number of years now, as we've been certified since 2017.
Why did Hargrove decide to go through the certification process?
Originally, we just kind of took a little cursory look at it. We decided instead of going through the audit process, let's go ahead and gather everything that we have about how we execute this business and how we go about executing system integration projects. And we hired an auditor to come in and do what we call a pre-audit. And that gave us a bit of what I will call a gap analysis, a little bit of a wake-up check, right? Because we felt like we were doing well, and we were doing well, but we also didn't realize how far from certification we were at that time. And when we realized how far we were from certification, we also realized how fragile our execution was. We were just one person away from a bad project and a bad experience with a client, which we didn't want to have. Once we understood the difference between what a certified company does and what we were doing, we knew what gaps we needed to close. And so we got very, very focused on those gaps that would keep us from being certified. And 9 months later, from that pre-certification, we went for the full certification. And again, we went for the full certification at this point just to prove to ourselves whether or not what we were doing would be adequate. It's a much more thorough process than a pre-certification, and we wanted to go through the full experience just to see where we need to improve. We did pass that certification. I'm proud of that. And we've been working on improving ever since. Now, we've been certified a couple of times since then, and we're going to continue that journey. But what we learn each certification is the areas where we're experiencing more problems or more pain points are the areas that we need to be focused on. And those certifications help us identify those areas more clearly.
I have a little bit of a personal question. I know you are a busy person. You've got 150 people on your team, et cetera, et cetera. You volunteer for several different organizations. Why do you set aside time for CSIA?
Well, I think that CSIA has really helped Hargrove become a systems integrator. We sought after the CSIA organization not long after we became a systems integrator ourselves. One of our teammates happened to see an article that had something about CSIA in it, and he researched it. And, we saw this might be somewhere where we can go get best practices. Well, I also believe that anything that you join into, any organization, you're going to get out of it exactly what you put into it. And so I started to get involved in CSIA, certainly saw the value of the best practices, saw that as a good roadmap to put us on a healthy footing. Certainly when you go into clients that your organization has had and had for a number of years, you want to be successful with them. That's very important to you for your career as well as for your organization. And so we found a lot of value with what CSIA had to offer. And so then there's this, well, what else does CSIA have? Because we got so much there. And we found a few things. I joined the marketing committee and I started to learn a lot about a field that I'm horribly unfamiliar with. Then I found a lot of value in that. And I found a lot of value in getting some of my other teammates to engage in other committees. From that, I'm not sure how I got to the list of people that might be nominated for a board position, but certainly when I was called by Jose and he asked me to be on the board, I was first shocked, but then I was also very humbled because I see the CSIA organization as the giants of automation. We have some really talented people in that organization that I get to learn from and that I get to bring influence back into my business. And quite a few of my teammates are involved not only in committees, but also in peer groups. And every single touch point within CSIA has given us the opportunity to bring back so much more to our organization than we feel like we've even given to anyone else. And I know that the other members that I speak with have a very similar feeling. So I know that we're contributing, but it just feels like we get so much more than we give. Because of that, it's a no-brainer for me. Why do I want to serve this organization? This organization has certainly served me, and it certainly served my organization. And I just want to continue to feed into that so that it's there for others in years to come.
Getting back to the customer side of things, why do you think a prospective customer should choose a CSIA member?
A CSIA member or certified member, there's two different reasons. Certified member, I believe that we have some evidence that shows that we have a repeatable methodology to produce successful outcomes for our clients. But a CSIA member is also important. And I believe that people who are in this organization as members have made that statement that I believe in continuous improvement. I want my business to be stable. I want it to be there for the long run, and I want to produce successful outcomes for my clients. I do believe that. And I also believe that CSIA members are heavily networked, not only with one another, or if you might need to leverage a skill set that another organization has that maybe yours doesn't. We're very small companies when you look at the size of a typical system integrator, even to a size of what we consider a large system integrator. It's a small company. And so it's not uncommon to need to leverage something that someone else has. We're heavily networked. Also, we're heavily networked in the partner arena. We have people that we can call that we know personally when we're dealing with different types of equipment, different types of hardware, software, and everything in between that is involved in automation. We have a network that provides that reach. Partners have shown a tremendous amount of support for CSIA, and any member has access to that partner network. So it's pretty important.
What's the best advice you could give your younger self just getting started?
That's a tough one because there's a lot of things that I could tell my younger self that could be useful. But you mentioned that earlier, and I don't generally like to say that I was the first female anything, but you did mention that I was the first female chair of this organization. And so I'm going to lean towards something that I would have told my younger self in the perspective that I'm a female. Early on in my career, there were times that I felt that I wasn't getting listened to. I felt like I had the right idea, the right solution, but I just wasn't gathering the attention of people. And I think because most of the people in my career field are not female, the easy answer for me when I was younger is, it's because I'm a girl. Well, the day that I decided that that was not the case was the day that my career changed. So at some point, I realized that everyone that's entry level feels like they have the solution and that no one's listening to them. I use the word entry level there. You can take any word you want to put into that sentence and it will still be true. Anyone can feel that way. And so when I removed the excuse that it was because I'm female, I started to objectively look at how to work the pieces of my puzzle in front of me to produce the outcomes that I wanted to produce. So I think if I would talk to my younger self, and I'm speaking just from the standpoint of being a female, and I know only a small portion of our segment is that way, but I hope that I reach them. Remove the excuses that are in front of you. And that works for men as well. If there's something that you feel that you cannot control that is stopping you from achieving the outcomes that you want to achieve, remove it. Just make it a piece of your puzzle. You're looking for an outcome, not a roadblock. So figure out a way to work around whatever's stopping you and remove the things that you're not in control of as the excuse for not getting where you want to get, and challenge yourself to figure out another way to get there.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you are interested in learning more about Karen or Hargrove, you can find them on the Industrial Automation Exchange at www.csiexchange.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Karen, for joining me today.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also really help the show by leaving a review and sharing with colleagues. We're all just slaves to the logarithm now, so I gotta ask. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.